Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining me on my video blog today. Do you remember growing up as a child when you first heard about the idea of heaven? That if you're good, when you die you'll go to heaven, or if you're bad, when you die you go to hell, and what that felt like for you, what that idea represented to you. For most of us as young children, it was our first introduction to God, what God is, and that if God decides that I go to heaven if I'm good or hell if I'm bad, it sort of put God outside of me as like this thing I needed to be afraid of. He's always watching me, like Santa Claus. And if if I don't match up with his criteria, the character of who I'm supposed to be, I'm going right to hell. And hell sounded terrible. You're going to burn in hell for eternity. That sounded like a terrible idea as a child. And so for me, my thing with God was, I believe in God because I wanted to be safe. I believe, and also my parents both talked about God and seemed to have some kind of belief in God. They weren't real up front with it and didn't tell me about what their underlying belief was. But my mom believed in God, my dad believed in God, and I figured if my parents believe in God, it must be true. And so I always played it safe and said, yeah, I believe in God. And then that was about the end of it. That's as much as I wanted to know. I didn't really go to church or anything to know about God until I was in my 20s. But I did have this sense of idea that I believe in God, and I just had this feeling that it was true. I just didn't understand what that meant. And I remember when I was in my 20s, my mid-20s, and I was a single parent, and I was really in a tough place I still hadn't finished my adolescence yet. I was just coming out of alcohol and drug use. And I remember one time just calling out to God and saying, God, if you're real, I need your help. And that was really the cry of my heart that opened me up to thinking that there must be something that's greater than myself that is in charge. And I'm willing to ask. And so I did that, and God came into my life. Came into my life in the experience of Jesus, and just a few months later, that was very cool. And it in that one decision to ask God to come into my life and Jesus to come into my life, I quit drugs, I quit smoking cigarettes, and I quit alcohol in one experience, one day. And that was miraculous. And then I spent the next 20-something years getting to know Jesus and the archetype Jesus, the Christian Jesus. And that was really good. It sort of put me on a path of religious thinking and spiritual thinking. And it was when the Course in Miracles came in my life, 20 years later, where I really got to have an understanding of what God is, who God is, what I am, where I come from, what heaven is, and what hell really is. And I love this workbook lesson that's in A Course in Miracles 188. The first line in this workbook lesson, in fact, the first 4 words says, why wait for heaven? Why wait for heaven? And I like that idea. I mean, just think about that. Why wait for heaven? Heaven is not a place that you go when the body dies. And hell is really the experience that you give yourself right here as a body. Hell is an experience that you give yourself if you decide to not choose to be what you are. If you decide to not choose that you can choose the experience of heaven on earth, or you can choose the experience of hell on earth. And what this workbook lesson means, why wait for heaven, it lines right up with what Jesus said 2,000 years ago when he said, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, which means it's right now. And another thing that Jesus said 2,000 years ago about the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of God, he said, the kingdom of God is likened to a man who found treasure on a piece of land. And when he found the treasure, he went and sold all of his belongings, sold everything that he had, so that he could buy that piece of land and have that treasure. And Jesus compared heaven to letting go of everything in the world, letting go of all your attachments in form, anything that you might desire that would lock you into the identity of a person as your only identity. Sell all of that, give it away, and so that you can have in the pursuit of this treasure, this piece of land, this treasure. And so that was the second thing. And then the third thing that Jesus said, or he said dozens of things about the kingdom of heaven, but the third thing in my example today is, he said the kingdom of heaven is within. The kingdom of heaven is not outside of you. The kingdom of heaven is right here. And we have access to this kingdom of heaven right now, in this moment. And in this workbook lesson, we also have this workbook lesson it's 188. The peace of God is shining in me now. And my good friend James Twyman has a workbook lesson song that goes with this that says, the peace of God is shining in me now. The peace of God is shining in me now. It's an awesome song that he puts to the music for Workbook Lesson 188. And there's another one that Oman and Shanti do on 188 that goes like, those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in them now, is in them now. And it goes on to say, enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. The peace of God is shining in me now. It's a beautiful song. Both of those are beautiful songs that go with this workbook lesson. But I'm just going to read this line right now that says, those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in you now. Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. Light is not of this world, yet you who bear the light in you are alien here as well. The light came with you from your native home and stays with you because it is your own. It is the only thing you bring with you from Him who is your source. It shines in you because it lit your home and leads you back where it came from, and you are at home. So, why wait for heaven, and the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and the kingdom of heaven is within, is telling us that it's accessible right now. And I'm going to invite you just to close your eyes with me, and we'll just go to this place of experiencing heaven as a state of mind, as a state of knowing, and as a state of being. And as we go into this place of recognition, I'm just going to invite you to just consider this one question. It doesn't need to be answered, but consider a question that is stated: what is it right now that is aware of your experience? What is it that is aware of your feelings, emotions? What's aware of the thoughts that you think? What's aware of the sound that you hear when you hear sounds? Or when you have images of the past or the future, what is aware of that? And when you just allow the quiet answer to come forward, to come forth, you will find that it is awareness itself. Awareness is aware of itself. And it is timeless. It's eternal. You can know right now in this moment that it has no age, it has no gender. And this moment of experiencing awareness and presence, it was not born, and this awareness has a knowing that it never dies. And this experience of awareness that we're looking at right now is our beingness. This awareness is the light that came with me, with you, and you are at home. And this light is also what He is who created it. This light is also God's creation of Himself, as Himself. And we share this light, and we share the oneness and the presence of God. We share the oneness and the presence of heaven. And this is our home, the recognition of what we are always and will forever be. This is heaven, right here, right now, in this moment, in this quiet place of abiding and resting in the knowing, in awareness, in pure presence. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is you. Why wait for heaven? It's right now. It's right here. And we can just be grateful, my friend, to know this. We are one with God, and God is one with us. We are one with our brother Jesus, and every living thing is one with this presence of awareness that we are in truth. And this is also love. We experience love right here in the same way. And I'm so grateful to share this experience with you in the quiet place that we share together. And you can open your eyes now. And thank you for joining me today. Why wait for heaven? Enlightenment is but a recognition. It's not a change at all. Because those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in you now. That is so cool. Thank you for joining me on my blog today. If this was helpful to you and you would like to know more about some of this teaching, go to the Teachers of God website and check out the 40-day program, or check out our True Prosperity course that we just launched last month. We have the A Course in Miracles 365 program over there. And we also have a 12-month program called the Living in Purpose Mastery course that might be of interest to you. But we have lots of free content, and we also have paid content. And we have communities on Facebook if you want to be involved in that. But this is just a taste of what we do at the Teachers of God Foundation to invite people to know the truth of what you are as God created you. So thanks again, and I'll see you on my next blog. Bye-bye.